This video is sponsored by Filmora.
Please help me, a little demon baby is after me. Please help me, please.
The tale of Nimona is one of the greatest success stories in the animation industry in recent years. It was dead. You all know this, right? A little bit ago I made the cancelled LGBT movie, since it was cancelled back in the day. Once being a project by Blue Sky Studios, before being dangled by Disney's latest acquisition, and then chucked in the bin as Blue Sky exploded since Disney didn't want to take the risk on a movie that was so overtly gay in places. And now, coming right back around as a real middle finger to the monopolizing institution, Nimona has come out on top this week, a massive hit via Netflix, who plucked them up back on their feet, as Disney flails in all sorts of recent failings. And if I wasn't aware of the news myself, you guys certainly were eager to let me know. Did you know I only get notifications from YouTube comments when someone is replying to me? So this one pinned comment here has been single-handedly informing me of everyone's opinion of this movie. This old video of mine has spiked with like 60,000 extra views lately, and I haven't even posted about it yet.
Queen Killer is still out there.
Everyone is scared. He's a murderer.
He's a monster.
He's perfect.
But first, let's talk about Filmora, the easy-to-use editing software suitable for those of all skills. AI in particular is a new addition to the editing process that editors of all kind have been taken advantage of, and Filmora can hook you up with some essential features that make the editing process that much faster and easier. You've got AI Smart Cutout that allows you to iron out any imperfections with both people and backgrounds. AI Audio Stretch when editing music to automatically create an extended edition that is the perfect length for your project. AI Audio Denoise to instantly upgrade your audio recording. For example, here's audio of me talking as I shake plastic in the background. And now here's shaking plastic in the background with AI Denoise put on. As well as one that I particularly find fitting for me, silence detection. You ever notice that I rarely take a breath between sentences in these videos? It's my style to get to the point as fast as possible. I just crop out all the in-betweens. So check the link in the description down below to download Filmora for free. Thanks again to Filmora for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to Nimona.
That would be me.
But yes, Netflix came in clutch to revive this animation passion piece, and now it's here and glorious too. Created by N.B. Stevenson way back in the old Tumblr days, this is a webcomic turned novel turned cinematic adaptation from over a decade of wholesome, heart-wrenching work. As even the creator came out as non-binary later on in life and retroactively described the whole thing as very transcoded, whether intentionally or not. This is a movie Disney does not have the balls to make, and it's precisely the kind of movie we need right now. Politically, the world is a hateful dumpster fire, and now more than ever, this burgeoning demographic of people are being identified and promptly vilified soon after. And this movie is absolutely a piece all for and about them. Nimona is all about this shape-shifting devil girl snapping back at a rigid society of authoritarian institutions and the oblivious masses. And only when their top non-royal knight is framed for a crime and scapegoated by everyone, like they've always wanted to, do the two come together against all the odds, attempt to fix some wrongs and learn a little about themselves along the way. You don't need me to go and dissect the themes of this movie, just the very concept of a shapeshifter always changing in order to fit into certain norms or fight back against oppressors is enough for the dots to easily align themselves. And the fact that the lines between good and evil are a little more nuanced this time around, with logical motivations placed behind each character, makes for a very good rendition of a movie that isn't just filled with complete cliches the whole way through. Is there room for improvement? Sure. I would barter to say this movie is good, if not great. At least on the representation front, a movie like this is really important and undoubtedly impactful for the right audience. Being a fine, fun romp is perhaps perfectly okay. Could they have expanded Ballister's intentions to do good the moment he is villainized to find the real killer? Yeah. Could they have knitted the dots a little closer to the Glorith we see as a giant statue in the city and the one we see with our own eyes? Maybe, but perhaps that one we can come back to thematically. But this movie was incredibly fun, and for what it wanted to do, it did with flying colours. Just existing at all is something that beats the odds and stands as a massive success worth celebrating. How fitting.
something, 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 we win.
This story was one that was first told back in 2015 over in the lands of Tumblr. And it is so unapologetically still 2015. Watching this movie for real felt like watching some old classic that instantly transported me back 8 years. Oh god, it's already been 8 years. Obviously, being adapted straight from that time period, little was changed on the vibes of the original. Though I hear there were some creative liberties put in that changes some of the details of the plotline. Regardless, sometimes I feel like the movie was a little bit too 2015. Some things from 2015 are kind of outdated now, and even if the movie came out in 2015, I would still roll my eyes now in 2023 watching back on it because this is a 2023 audience. I'm not talking about anything serious here, I'm talking about jokes. Why is there a dab in this movie? Couldn't we at least bump this up to be a bit more modern? Or is this an incredibly memey comic panel from way back when? There's also the incredibly easy joke of pineapple on pizza, yuck, which is just so lazy. I hate this gag. Modernize, originize, this is too basic. And I'd argue outdated even in 2015. And that one dude bro, I guess I can handle, but man, his overuse of the word bro seriously gave me whiplash back to my sixth form days. That is uncomfortable. But yes, this movie seemed so out of a different date, I was half expecting a left shark meme when that shark started doing that dance number. That was 2015. Other simple gags are fine. Demon children are always fun, especially when they look a little like Goob from Meet the Robinsons. All the other gags from Nimona's swift delivery and affiliation for her under-the-breath jump scares were brilliant all the way along as well.
How did you...
Whoa, yeah, sick arm. Did it bleed a lot? What? Did they let you keep the old one?
No.
And then you've got the animation. It looks brilliant. There's a real interesting aesthetic to this movie that isn't fully off from Arcane, whilst Netflix animations in general give me that vibe of fan animations done professionally. Maybe it's the people they choose to hire. But this movie is so expressive. Nimona alone with her shape-shifting abilities allows her to go way off model in ways that work so well to bring so much character and charm out of her line deliveries without Chloe Grace Moretz doing so much good work. Though a couple of times shots did look a little empty and too clean. There's one hallway in particular near the start where the lighting just makes it look like it's at an earlier stage of development, but overall, the stylistic choices and switch-ups are so satisfying to see. The tile animation for Nimona's backstory in the subway, the fact that each character has different shapes for the highlights in their eyes, which change over the course of the film as a small little detail. And all sorts of comic silhouetting moments are just mwah. Eugene Lee Yang being involved just elevates this project at being all the more wholesome, so you can just tell this is yet another passionate person applying to this passionate project. And I wish them all the success with this new direction of a career if they choose to take it on. Their voice fits right into this world as far as I'm concerned, so it's certainly not a casting choice of nepotism going on here, which I guess is always a plus. By the way, we mentioned earlier that it's nice to have something wholesome in the middle of this toxic political world, and that seems to be the case with Twitter dying in a fire and Threads being the phoenix from the ashes. I'm on there too now. I've been boycotting Twitter for a while now, so it's great to spread my wings and collaborate with the more wholesome vibes over there. So give us a follow. And if you're liking this video so far and aren't already, subscribe here. Or check out our cancelled coverage of this movie to see the dark timeline. Anyway, there's my mandatory mid-roll plug. Also, you may notice by the echoiness, I'm currently in the middle of moving house, so my apologies if you've noticed. And apologies again if you've only just noticed, and now can't unnotice. I'll get some padding soon. Now, the shape-shifting element was really fun to see. I feel we need more shapeshifter stories since there's a lot of potential there. Ironically, now we have Nimona and Moana holding the main fort of that archetype other than X-Men. Now with similar names. Nimona. Give me more, because while it was fun to see Nimona become a gorilla and a whale and a rhino, she kind of just sticks to that. I would have loved to see more creative choices with the fact that she can become anyone and anything. Really push the boundaries of what you can do in an action scene other than the go-to animal choice. Dungeons and Dragons, the movie, also has a shapeshifter. I really like this superpower, I think. But though it wasn't necessarily pushing any major boundaries from the creative story perspective, it did do a whole lot of things right from a story perspective. This movie is fairly predictable. It's not crammed with tropes, but you can get the general gist pretty early on. You got the disadvantaged lower class demonized as a monster against a system that's built against them unjustly, and want to rise up against this oppressor. But the one thing that does probably catch people off is the reveal that, spoilers from this point on folks, leave while you have the chance, though knowing this won't ruin your experience with the film, only highlight the themes more in my opinion. Nimona is the one same monster from 1,000 years past that this entire society is built around keeping out. She actually is the big bad from the ancient times, and by the end, the anger and despair of always being the villain in these guys' eyes makes her become a rageful kaiju of a monster that wreaks havoc on the streets, all the while not actively attacking anyone or any building. Ironically, it's the government that do that, and just expressing themselves in a giant rageful form. Because as it turns out, the Glorith that is glorified as an eternal statue, the first prime soldier who stands their ground to cast the monsters out, was just a little girl like Nimona back then. And she didn't always fear and reject her as an outcast. They were friends once, innocent in their purest form. And only after their village lashed out, only when the big authoritative adults above said that this girl is a bad monster, that she is swayed onto a path of hatred and rejection. The very symbol that founds this entire society is one that is heaped on deceit and lies. Their very best example of a member of society was on the side of Nimona and only pulled by other forces, not made by their own reasoning. Represented in the future day as an unmoving, fierce adult woman rather than the fearful little girl she really was that day. Not even Glorith is represented correctly in this society. Does she grow up to become a dead fast soldier? I think not, and it's society just putting up this image that couldn't possibly be realistic. Brilliant stuff all the way through. And then there's the final boss. Plug in a clip. There is no final boss. There is no big mecha fight of kaiju versus cannon lady. There is no fight across the cityscape or any of that mess. The final act that Barrister has to conduct is stopping Nimona from hurting just one person, herself. As in her giant form, she chooses to end herself with the very symbolic sword that has casted her away for 1,000 years. An incredibly transcoded message that some feel the best way to avoid this existential confrontation of being hated for merely existing is to end it all for them. And Barrister is this movie's message to encourage people not to do so. To find their own way and find their people too, as Nimona has done for the first time properly in 1,000 years. Wow. All the while, Barrister himself has a devoutly gay relationship with Golden Boy Knight Goldenloin over here that is done in a way that is both important and unmissable, yet not so overblown to hamper the story or the point, and merely elevates it as another internal conflict for our pseudo-anti-non-hero to have to tackle as he struggles with which side to follow. Ever oblivious to the deceit of the higher-ups and lack of judgment to question the systems that are in place. Again, a very prominent message of this film. This movie was a real treat from start to finish, made only sweeter by the fact that it is just so wholesome. The intentions of this movie are so warm-hearted and has the potential to strike so many people in the heart, in a good way for once.
Cold in here?
So with this now on the rise, that begs the question, what next? Disney and DreamWorks are flopping at the moment as Ruby Gillman is splashing Little Waves 2, and Netflix has potentially just struck gold with a project and a die-hard community, the LGBT one. Finding movies that are so outlandishly different from the straight man norm is both refreshing to see for audiences, satisfying and representative for those who identify as such, and apparently, it could make for a whole lot of profit too. It's an open market with a passionate peoples. Just don't screw it up. Disney doesn't have the balls to do it even with these results. They'll probably stick to their easily editable options for international audiences. But Netflix? Perhaps this could be a whole renaissance, but for the first time, of some great new unique projects in the waterworks. Or perhaps they'll tackle it in a different direction. This movie was able to be made because it was on the chopping block, and Netflix came in to swoop it up from the gutters, polishing it into a diamond in the rough. Maybe their next target is to follow the scent and continue along the gutter for all sorts of other cancelled projects with die-hard fans. I can't be the judge of that. And I can't exactly guarantee it'll be as easy if some of these projects have been dormant for years and with some other companies. I'm looking at you, me and my Shadow and DreamWorks. But this is some brilliant news to be seen in the animation sphere. After so many L's, even from Netflix themselves and cancellations, it's nice to finally have a giant win here. Something, something, something. Everybody wins. I doubt a sequel is needed or will happen. I'm content enough alone with just the Monsters Inc. ending they had between Nimona and Bannister. I've been trying so hard not to call him Bannister this whole video. He is not a stairway rail, but my brain just keeps wanting me to do that. Anyway, for now, my name's been Daz, you didn't really care, and I'll see you in a little bit. Roll a final clip.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Let's break stuff.